Hi, guys. Welcome back to my podcast. I hope you guys are doing super well. If you guys notice, I have my ghost um, little cobijita, and that's because I haven't bought a Christmas one. So if any of you guys want to buy me one, if not, we're gonna stick with this because that's all I got. But I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving last week. I know you guys missed me. I'm just kidding. But we're back. I'm motivated. I'm ready to go. I've played around with the podcast, so I think we're ready. For this week, I want to talk about a lot of my topics come from um like things that go on TikTok, and the topics come from that many times. This topic, I was scrolling and then I seen that one of the people that I follow, they have a podcast on gig work. So if you guys didn't know, I used to do gig work like Instacart, DoorDash, Uber, all of that. And occasionally I still do it to earn like extra income. Like I said before, I'm never the type to rely on one single income. I've always had income from here, there. It's just my way of lifestyle. I think even if I were to be a millionaire, I would have different sources of income because you can never rely on one. But anyways, this person was sharing how there was a proposition that wanted to pass, and it was about wanting rideshare drivers to obligate them to speak English and write and basically be fluent in the language English. And at first, at first glance, I'm like, oh, whatever. Like every day they're making up new rules to discriminate our people, those who are immigrants or they came here and have been living here for many years but choose not to learn the language for some reason or not. But after realization and looking at the comments, there was a comment that grabbed my attention. There was a woman that said, yes, everybody who lives here in the US should be required to speak and write English. If not, they can go back to their country and speak the language that they want. I'm like, okay, hold up. Because that's when you get a little defensive. That's when you decide to step in and be like, really now? So if English is the language of the US, it has not been recognized as the language of the US. Honestly, it has not been recognized as a universal language either. And although I do think that English is spoken all around the world, even in Mexico, Europe, the Philippines, Korea, Japan, it's a language that has been adapted everywhere. I can agree. It is still not the universal language. Now, if she wanted to be technical, if she thought everybody should be forced to speak English, then everybody should be forced to speak Dakota, Apache, Mayan, because those are the native languages of the US. But nobody wants to hear that, right? But you know what? Those aren't even the universal languages. They're the original languages of the US. But what's the universal language that no matter where you go, if it's whatever part of the country, the language is energy. That's the universal language everywhere in the world. And yes, what is energy? We all know that energy is in everything, right? Yes, yes, yes. What are some examples that I can give you guys? Babies, they will communicate that they are hungry, that they are not feeling well, that they are want water, milk, whatever the case is, without using language. Animals, they tell you they want to go to the restroom. They tell you they want to go outside, that they want a treat, that they want to go on a walk, but they don't use the language that we use. Yet, there's still ways to communicate. Nature, how is it reacting by earthquakes, tsunamis, climate change? It's nature's talking. It's not a communication that we know, the language we know, but energy. It's finding a way to communicate. It's so, so important to realize that, yes, we're all different. We all speak different languages. We all come from different backgrounds. We all come from different parts of the world, but we all are very similar. If I was to be stranded with someone that didn't speak the same language, trust me, even if it's sign language, we would understand each other because it's the universal energy. That is I've been sharing a lot with you guys about like spiritual gifts and all of that. That's my number one language. I wish you guys would understand what it feels like, but a lot of you guys do. Intuition. When someone walks in the room or I come across a certain person, I can read them. Maybe not 100%, but right away I get intuition. That's because their energy is speaking to me. I can understand language. Like I've told you guys before, if you ever want to experiment energy, go to a busy grocery store and find someone. If they're facing their back to you or to the side, not focus on you. Like stare at them for 5 seconds. They're going to turn around and make eye contact with you. Because you're not telling the person, hey, turn around, I'm talking to you. Your eyesight, your energy you're inputting into that person, they can feel it. They can understand that you're trying to tell them, turn around. Turn around. I'm trying to talk to you, or I'm trying to look at you, or whatever the case. But that is communication. I wanted to share a little story, and it's kind of sad. I don't know. But it's a great, great example of this. When we first moved in last year into the house that I'm living at, when we got there, we seen that there was a stray dog. And he was a bigger dog. He was like a pit bull he was a pit bull mix. He was a bigger dog. But this dog was super, super, super skinny, you guys. Like when I tell you guys, he was skinny. And he had one of his foot was injured. So the first thing we do as pet owners, as human beings, we fed him water and we fed him food. Since we have dogs, we gave him our dogs food, and he would not come near us. He used to like look at us from afar. There's like a barn in the corner, and he would like go over there and look at us and stare at us. And then at night, when everybody was gone and like asleep, he would come and eat the food. And I could see in the cameras like he was scarfing the food down. This happened for 1 week, 2 weeks, I tried to like approach him and take care of him to see if we could take him to the vet to treat his foot. But he was very, very timid and scared. He would run off. There was no way for us to touch him, to do anything. And it was like that for like 2, 3 weeks. Eventually, I took some of my treats. He would look at me, give my other dogs treats, and he would be like curious, like, is she gonna give me one of those? And I was like, hey, come here. And I extended my hand with the treat. I could have felt like he was gonna bite me. Like I could just read off his energy that he was gonna bite me. So I just threw it and he left. He didn't even come for the treat or anything. And immediately by that, I knew that this dog was tortured or he was hit or they had abused him, basically. And obviously, the dog didn't tell me that he had been abused, that he had been hit, that he'd been, whatever the case is, I knew that this dog had been abused. And that's energy. The dog is not able to communicate that with me and tell me, hey, I can't get close to you because I don't trust humans. I don't know if you're going to hurt me too. But of course, we know that's what energy is, the communication from a dog that just came on my property. Eventually, the dog, he would not get close to my brothers. I think he had a fear with men. And eventually, he got close to us. I remember one time, within that time frame, we ordered Chinese food, me and my brother. We ordered 2 plates. And the DoorDash drops it off. And usually at my other house, we would not go and get the food immediately. I would be like changing or in my room, like, oh, okay, the food's here. I'm going to go get it. But this time I went and the bag was gone. And there was a picture of like the DoorDash that left the food at my door. And I was like, that is my door. But the food is gone. Like, what happened? Like, what is going on? And I messaged the person. I was like, hey, did you drop off the food? Because it's not here. And it's like, yes, but I seen a dog. I'm like, why the heck would you drop off the food if you see a dog? Like, of course, the dog is going to eat my food. And yes, I went around the house and I realized that he was already munching down on 1 plate of Chinese food. And as soon as he seen me, he ran. And I was like, oh my God, my food. So luckily he didn't get into the second plate, but the first one he had like devoured the food. And I was like, oh my God, like he's hungry. Like even though we're feeding him like every day, a good portion of food, he's still like super, super starving or like he's just in that mental state, like he's trying to survive and trying to eat whatever he finds. And I realized that this poor animal, like, man, I had to help him. Eventually, this is like 2, 3 months, so we're already living there. I slowly started to pet him. Slowly, I would touch him, he would run away, but he was gaining that trust. He did gain that trust with me. Next thing you know, I was walking my dogs and he was walking right next to us. One of the neighbors, like down the street, she was throwing away her trash. She's like, is that your dog? I was like, no, but he's a stray dog that just appeared at my house and we're taking care of him because it's nobody's dog. Nobody's feeding it. She's like, yeah, that freaking dog used to come to my house and empty my trash bins out. I'm like, well, why do you leave them outside? This poor dog is hungry, like common sense. But I was like, oh no, he's a stray dog. She's like, okay, well, I'm gonna call the animal control. I'm like, should I tell her like we want to keep or maybe I should let animal control take him and like treat him and maybe he can go to a better family. That, I mean, I already had 4 dogs, so I couldn't take care of another dog. It's a lot of responsibility, pet bills, and all of that. Well, next thing you know, it started like that. We gained like confidence within the dog. He was pretty happy at my house. He was gaining some weight. Like I mentioned before, he was super, super, super skinny. And within a couple weeks, he looked like fuller, like his, but he still wouldn't like completely let us like pick him up or anything. And we were scared to like pick him up and take him to the vet because of the fear of like him biting and like we don't know if he has what vaccines or what the previous like history of the dog is. Eventually, the dog was, we bought him a bed and he literally, I kid you guys not, he dragged his bed like where he used to sleep at in the barn and stayed there. He would like still have his distance and he was still roaming around. We didn't claim him as our dog, even though we were feeding him and everything. Eventually, one day, I think one of the neighbors around us, they did call the pound. And then the pound called us and told us, like, hey, the dog is dangerous and we had to call animal control. I'm like, what the heck? Like, you guys are so stupid. Like, this dog is not dangerous. He has trauma, yes, but he's a pit bull that doesn't have. It's like, oh, it could be reactive to like our kids, and you know what? Whatever. I was like crushed. I was like, it was hard for me to imagine like where this dog could end up. But the moral of this whole story is like, I don't know where the dog came from, what history it had of abuse, and but he communicated to me that he had been hurt in the past. He had trauma. He had all of this. And he felt safe around me. Not my brothers, not my mom, but me. Allowed me to, touch him and gain that trust back. All without using communication, verbal communication. So if I'm able to communicate with an animal that doesn't use an actual language, and what makes you think I can't communicate with my Uber driver? Like, let's be honest, have you guys ever took an Uber driver? 90% of the times that you take an Uber, you don't want to talk with the Uber driver. You just want to get to point A and B. And you don't need to tell him any directions. You don't need to tell him anything. He has his phone, whatever he's driving to, what route he's taking. The person receiving the services also has that same route on their phone. There's Google Translate, so easy. There's ChatGPT, so many apps that make it accessible for people to communicate if there's a language barrier. I'm just mind blown that all of this is not to make things life easier or to make communicate. It's about ego and separation and dominance over people. You have to do this. Calm your fucking ego down. I hate ignorant people. I hate people who think they are better. I speak 2.5 languages and what? And I'm learning another one with my partner. For you guys that don't know, he speaks Farsi. He used to speak Kurdish. Oh no, how do you say it? I don't even know. But I'm trying to learn. I learned Arabic. I know Spanish fluently. I know English fluently. Now that's a flex if you ask me. Oh, and I know how to read energy too, but that's what I'm trying to say. Like, bro, you guys are doing this to cause up separation, not to help people out, not to create safety. Not you're doing it because you're prideful. Now, if you want to talk like that, let's all learn Apache, Navajo. Let's see if we can all learn the native language, huh? Is that simple? I think it's absurd, but it goes beyond the language barrier. Learn to learn energy, intuition. You will accomplish a lot more things, trust me. I don't know where I was going with this episode, but I think that's my overall opinion about that. And not only that, I'm going to tell you guys something, and maybe you guys are going to remember in the future. Maybe I'm looking back at the future now. But there will be a time where we can communicate through our thoughts. I said what I said. Telepathy. It's impossible right now. Only people who are spiritual believe in that. But it will be scientifically proven. That's all I'm going to say. If you guys want to think about that more, we could have a conversation about that, but that's all I'm going to say now. The universal language will be thoughts. Energy. Same shit. But anyways, guys, I'm excited for these topics, these days. I'm also gonna start having guests. I posted on my Instagram that I was ready. I do have my other side right here. It's all empty. That's why the camera's focused this way. But I think my first person, he's gonna be like my guinea pig. It's gonna be my boyfriend. We have interesting topics. We're gonna talk about like our relationship a little bit, like what we went through as a couple. Like I said, it was not easy in the beginning. It was a learning curve. But as we both heal, we both adapt to new lifestyles and stuff like that. We're growing together, and how our relationship shifted from toxic, not very toxic, but like nonchalant, to super motivated partners and romantic partners. A little bit about his views in religion and business, because we both are business owners. We both are entrepreneurs. We both don't rely on one income. So yeah, that's going to be coming up. If not next episode, the following. I know the holidays are coming up and I'm very busy, but I'm going to try not to miss any weeks like last week. But anyways, guys, I will see you guys next week. Bye.